G'day everybody, how are you? Well, this next clip's something about ram raids and all these very young children getting in with ram raids. And I want you to take note in this clip that for a start, they don't seem to worry about where the parents are to do with these children. The reason for that, and I particularly know of one event where all of the 7 odd children that did the ram raid were under the care of Oranga Tamariki. These children aren't running away from their parents. These children are already in the system, and that's why you'll see nothing in these clips about the parents taking responsibility for the actions of what the children are doing. It's because most of them are from Oranga Tamariki.
Young thrill-seeking burglars are committing increasingly brazen ram raids on Auckland businesses, from dairies, service stations, malls to stores like these, Louis Vuitton and Gucci, both hit in a late-night ram raid earlier this month. And the scary part is most ram raid offenders caught are under the age of 20, some reportedly even as young as 11. The government claims to be doing all they can to stop the wave of ram raids, delivering fog cannons to business owners in collaboration with Retail New Zealand. But National argue policy changes are what's needed most.
The police have got a tough job at the moment. They are trying to police with one hand tied behind their back. And so that's why the police are arresting them on a Thursday night and having to deal with them again on a Friday night. And of course, you know, the real victims in the whole thing are our store owners and shopkeepers and members of the public that are now starting to get caught up in all this violence.
They've got old fucking blowfish looking Mark Mitchell sitting there. Mark Mitchell, a few years back when me and Steve Evans were helping out a lady that was getting harassed by Oranga Tamariki in Orewa, and she was a working girl, so to speak. Well, Mark Mitchell was one of her clients. So I don't think Mark has any pot to stand on when he was actually using the services of a lady that was being harangued by Oranga Tamariki for the services that she provided when the children weren't around. But that's another story.
Even though it's not illegal and you're only giving a massage, right, giving a happy ending is seen as selling sex, right? And so even though prostitution is not illegal in this country, right, it's not. It would be seen as morally incorrect, but it's not illegal. Right?
I know what Darren Cassidy told me about that.
Hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
I mean, you know, you've got, am I correct? Mark Mitchell?
Yeah. Right,
does he come and see you?
Yeah, for the past.
There we go. And who's this guy from OT?
He was one of my clients. His name is the practice leader guy.
It's OT where? Orewa. The practice leader at
What's his
Orewa.
name? I'll tell you, hang on. He was one of my clients. Because when I first went to see him that day that we had the project, I went across the road and I spoke to him. He goes, yes, we have met before, I've been to your house. And I thought, oh, and then this clip, the penny dropped and I recognised, because I thought he looked a bit familiar. His name is practice leader
of Oranga Tamariki in Orewa.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Craig Newby.
Craig Newby.
Craig Newby was one of my
Members of the public that are now starting to get caught up in all this violence and crime.
Police Minister Poto Williams says the pursuit policy has done more good than harm and a review isn't being discussed.
One of the great outcomes in the change of the pursuits policy is that nobody has died. And, you know, since the change, and that's got to be a great statistic. And what police do after a pursuit is that they follow up with that person. I mean, that's got to be something that we celebrate in terms of the police. But speaking directly to the ram raids that have been happening in the last few weeks, police have a real role in community safety, but they're not always all of the answer. So, you know, here I'm saying to people who are out there who are really concerned about this, let's look at finding some solutions that we can put in place that stop the ram raids happening in the first place.
Stats show there's been a decline in youth crime. Last year, there were 900 children and young people aged between 10 and 16 in court, a decrease by at least 10% every year since 2018. But the Police Association says it doesn't necessarily reflect the reality.
Do have to be always careful, is that the way we're recording it, or is that the reality? But we do know a vast amount of the crime you're seeing is actually committed by a very small number of persistent recidivist offenders. It's not the first time they've committed them. And most of them will be known to police, will be known to OT, will be known to OT, will be known to OT. And so, there's a lot of work needs to be done. But if we don't, we're failing them, but we're also failing society, because they will go on to commit more serious crimes and victimise more people.
The recent offending's seen criticism resurface over the government's soft on crime approach, something the Police Minister profusely denies.
I'm absolutely appalled at the thought that people are saying that I'm soft on crime. I'm an advocate for family violence victims, and I'm not soft on anyone, and I'm not soft on any of these issues.
Police currently are policing in a very tough environment. They've had a whole lot of additional tasks thrust upon them that takes them away from their core role, and their core role is preventing crime, detecting crime, and being able to investigate crime. And then you've got a soft on crime government.
On this one, these kids, their parents, they're already out of the picture. Don't go blaming the parents, go blaming Oranga Tamariki, because most of these kids are wards of the state already and are just running rampant. So, yeah. See you later, guys. Have a good day.